Raghav was a hard-working and honest boy living in a small village near the Vishnupur forest. Despite his efforts, he never felt truly happy due to a bad habit, comparing himself to others. Whenever he saw his friend Karan, the top student in school, he wished he were as smart. When he looked at his wealthy neighbor Siddhar, he longed for the same riches. Even when he saw someone running fast, he thought, "I wish I could run that fast." Over time, this habit made Raghav feel increasingly discouraged. He lost focus on his studies and no longer enjoyed his work. Each day, he felt disappointed, believing he could never be as successful as those around him. One day, a famous saint arrived in the village. People said he could help others understand profound truths about life. Hearing this, Raghav decided to seek his guidance. He shared his troubles. "I work very hard, but whenever I see someone better than me, I feel sad. I think I will never be like them. Please help me overcome this feeling." The saint smiled and said, "Meet me under the old tree tomorrow morning. There, you will find your answer." The constant comparisons had left Raghav disheartened and lost. Once a diligent student, he could no longer focus on his studies. His work no longer brought him joy because he always felt he would never succeed like others. The feeling of inferiority trapped Raghav in a cycle of disappointment. Whenever he saw someone achieving something he did not have, he blamed himself. Day by day, his confidence faded, replaced by a sense of helplessness. He did not realize that comparing himself to others was robbing him of both joy and motivation. One day, the entire village buzzed with excitement about a famous saint's arrival. It was said that he possessed deep wisdom and often helped people understand important life lessons. Upon hearing this, Raghav decided to meet the saint, hoping to find a solution to his struggles. When he met the saint, he spoke honestly. "Gurudev, I always work hard, but whenever I see someone better than me, I feel discouraged. I think I can never be as successful because there will always be someone greater. Please help me escape this feeling." The saint smiled gently and said, "Tomorrow meet me under the oldest tree in the village. You will find your answer there." The next morning, as the sun began to rise, Raghav hurried to the old tree as instructed. When he arrived, he saw the saint already waiting for him. The saint smiled and pointed toward the forest ahead, then asked, "What do you see in this forest?" Raghav observed for a moment and replied, "I see many different kinds of trees. Some are very tall, some are short, some bear fruit, and others only have green leaves." The saint nodded and said, "Now imagine if the mango tree started comparing itself to the coconut tree and felt sad because it was not as tall. Or if the coconut tree complained that it did not bear sweet fruit like the mango tree. Would that make sense?" Raghav shook his head. "No, Gurudev, that would be meaningless." The saint smiled. "Then tell me, do you think this forest looks beautiful?" Raghav nodded. "Yes, it is very beautiful and harmonious." The saint gently said, "Each tree has its role in the forest, just as every person has their own journey in life. No one needs to be like anyone else." Although Raghav understood part of the lesson, he still had some doubts. Seeing this, the saint led him to a pond where many fish were swimming. He pointed to a bird in the sky and asked, "If a fish started complaining that it could not fly like a bird, do you think that would make sense?" Raghav shook his head and replied, "No, Gurudev. Fish are meant to swim in water, while birds are meant to fly. Each has its own unique ability." The saint smiled and said, "Then why do you want to be like someone else? Every person has strengths that others do not. Instead of comparing yourself, discover and develop your own abilities." At that moment, Raghav had a realization. Every person has their own value, and comparing oneself to others only takes away joy from life. After hearing the saint's wisdom, Raghav understood an important truth. Everyone has their own journey and unique value. From that moment, he decided to stop comparing himself to others and instead focus on developing his strengths. Gradually, Raghav regained his confidence. He learned to accept himself and make the best use of his abilities. By working according to his strengths and passions, he felt happier. His life changed for the better, filled with motivation and fulfillment. By focusing on his strengths, Raghav regained his confidence and drive. He worked diligently, no longer worrying about comparisons. Over time, his efforts bore fruit. Raghav built a successful career and became an inspiration in the village. When people asked him for the secret to his success, Raghav simply smiled and said, "If a fish tries to fly, it will always fail. But if it hones its swimming skills, it can rule the entire ocean. Lesson learned. Do not compare yourself to others. Focus on your own journey, develop your strengths, and create your own path to success.